people have already asked me, would you rather play on synthetic turf or the real thing? And here's the thing about synthetic turf. It's very hot, and the real grass is nice and cool. The synthetic turf, if you lay down on it, you get little pieces of rubber stuck to the back of your head. It's not very nice. If you lay in the grass, you get the smell. You get to smell the turf, which is awesome. And then when it comes to eating, I really have never enjoyed chewing on plastic as much as I enjoyed chewing on a blade of grass. But we definitely would much rather play on grass than we would artificial turf. But I do think the artificial turf has a little bit of value in that when the grass is in its dormant stage, it's nice to play on the artificial turf so we don't tear up the grass. So when it's time for that grass to grow and be ready for the season and for practice, especially in the fall when it's so hot, we want the real grass to be in great shape. And so we do love that. I want to talk in college football is a place where coaches get put if people think you're in trouble as far as the livelihood of your job. And there's actually a website, I don't know if anybody knew that or not, but there's actually a coach's hot seat. And I can recall, somebody told me about it years ago, and about 2007 I heard about it. So the end of the 2007 season, we finished number 2 in the country. And so I thought it might be safe to go look at the hot seat, see what was going on over there. And there was about 120 Division I college football coaches, and I was somewhere about 110 or so, which means you're pretty safe. The top 10 on the hot seat actually have your pictures on the website. And well, after last season or the year before, when we went 6-7, after the 2010 season, I was a little bit scared to get on the website and take a peek, so I didn't. But I heard it was. I heard my picture looked pretty good on it. But anyway, so we're 6-7, and there's a lot of people talking and saying this, that, and the other. And then, of course, then we had a really tremendous plan to start the year, and that was to play Boise State and South Carolina, 2 top 10 teams back to back. And the plan was to beat those guys and then end up in the top 10 ourselves and just keep on sailing right through the season. But as it turned out, we lost our first game to Boise State. And after that ball game, as head coach, you got to talk to the team after the game. And after that game, I really couldn't think of a lot of positive things to say at that time. So I kind of, called it like I saw it. I said, you know what? These guys are just better than us tonight. And if we have any chance at all to realize our goal of winning the Southeastern Conference, we better get this thing turned around in a hurry. And so anyway, the next game, South Carolina game, we played it at home and actually played a whole lot better. I think we lost 42-45 or whatever it was. But I remember going in that locker room after that ball game and trying to have to face the team. Now you're 0-2, and you're 0-1 in league play. And so, a lot of times you just got to sit there and make something up to keep everybody's spirits up. But as it turned out, I actually left that field feeling encouraged. And I told them, I said, man, I said, I'm really encouraged about this football team. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, we have the ingredients to be a really fine football team. And throughout that game, we made a lot of mistakes, a lot of big mistakes that sometimes can bury a team and make them just shut down completely and just get beat really badly on a day like that. With some of the turnovers for touchdowns, fake punt for a touchdown, another fumble that turned into a touchdown. I mean, there's just all kind of things that happen that normally would do a team in and they would lose their spirit, but we never lost our spirit. We never lost our fight. And so I told them that. I said, man, we've got what it takes to win the Eastern Division and play for the Southeastern Conference Championship. And I said, but the thing that we got to do is we've got to stick together, and we got to keep believing in each other, and we can't let the outside noise, ruin our season. And so I guess when I'm talking about the hot seat, I'm kind of talking about adversity. And I think everybody at one time or another gets on the hot seat of life. Some of you young people, I don't know if you've been on the hot seat so much, but if you haven't been on it, you're going to be on it sooner or later. And some of us that got a little more gray in our hair have been through enough life to know that there's going to be some times that are really tough in life. And so the thing I wanted to talk about tonight is, how do we handle it? We started out 0-2. People from the media in the beginning were talking about who might be replacing me as coach, and then by the end of the season, when we rattled off 10 in a row, they started talking about, renewing contracts and going to the bowl game and playing for the SEC championship and all that kind of thing. And so a lot of the media would ask me, how did you guys, how did you navigate it with the team? And I said, well, number one, the first thing we did is we remained positive. And we actually had a theme last year going into the year. We talked about a book that I read that John Gordon wrote called The Energy Bus. And the Energy Bus was just talking about staying positive. And, positive energy would fuel the bus. And so we kind of all jumped on the bus last year and decided we were going to be as positive as we possibly could. And, one of our goals as a staff was when our players came to the Butts Beer Building, which is our practice facility, that they were going to be in the most positive environment they could possibly be in. Because if you read what's going on the websites or read what's going on the sports page, and especially early on, or even walking the campus, who knows what they might have been dealing with the negativity that was going on out there. We actually called the negativity, we just called it the noise. Just don't listen to the noise. And keep believing in each other. Keep believing in your coaches. And that's what happened. Our coaches kept believing in the players, and we kept believing in each other. The players kept believing in each other and in the coaches. And we just kept grinding, we kept believing, and we had, we turned that thing around and won, like I said, 10 in a row, won the East. And actually we won 10 and a half games, if you remember. Halftime of that LSU game was looking pretty good there for a minute. But so that was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we did, was to stay as positive as we possibly could. And then the other thing is we wanted to stay united, because once you start having that division or start pointing fingers, I mean, anytime you play a football game, there might be one side of the ball that plays better than the other. There might be a game where the offense plays better than the defense, or vice versa, or the special teams might let you down. And if you start pointing fingers at each other, then you've got no prayer. A house divided is going to fall. So, it's very important to stay positive, very important to stay united as a team. And then the other thing that the media was asking me on a personal level was, how was I handling it, the adversity and all the tough times on a personal level? Because when you're the head coach, a lot of things actually get pointed directly at the head coach. And so that gave me an opportunity to tell them how I handled it. And the main thing that I hung on to throughout the season, and really throughout any time that I had the tough times, is just this last season in particular was a scripture verse of Jeremiah 17:7, which says, "Blessed is the man whose trust is in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord." And I think that sometimes we think we can control everything. Sometimes we think that we can do it by ourselves. But the longer you live, the more you realize that there's going to be situations that are beyond our strength, beyond our wisdom, beyond our ability to handle on our own. And even, I've got an outstanding coaching staff. We've got tremendous players. We have a great support staff. There's just a lot of people that it takes to have success on a football field. But even so, I believe we need divine intervention. We need, when we run out of all of our wisdom, we need a source of wisdom that never runs out. When we run out of strength, we need a source of wisdom that never runs out. And, the one thing about God is He just, He loves us and He wants to take care of us. And if we truly, believe in Him and we truly trust Him, and He is the most trustworthy of all people, then it'll be a blessing. And it was for me personally to help me stay positive, to help me to continue to do the things that I felt were in the best interest of the program, even though there's the naysayers saying this, that, or the other. So before I close, I wanted to also just mention another scripture that it's kind of a life verse for me, and it's Colossians 3:23. It says, "Whatever you do, do your work heartily unto the Lord." And the reason why I like that scripture, and I think it's appropriate tonight, is you got a lot of young people here that are, going to be deciding, what am I going to do with my life? It's that time of your life where you're not sure of what's going on. I think a lot of people sometimes they're kind of thinking that a lot of people say, well, what's God's will for my life? What does He want me to do? And I think sometimes we get too caught up on what we're going to do, rather than how we're going to do it and who we're going to do it for. And that's why I love the scripture, because it says whatever you do. It doesn't say if you're a head football coach or a doctor or a lawyer or a turf grass manager or whatever it is. It just says whatever you do. It says do your work heartily, Heartily. That means do it the very best you can. And then the scripture says, and do it unto the Lord rather than men. And the reason why I think that's important is because I think that if our only accountability is to man, then it's very limited. In other words, sometimes I'll be walking the practice field, and I might be on the offensive side of the field, and I'll walk across to the defensive side of the field. And as I get closer to a drill or something that's going on, I might see that a player might catch me out of the corner of his eye and see that the head coach is coming. And then all of a sudden he might give a little better effort. Or maybe even a coach might change his demeanor or even change his language when I get closer to him. And so all of a sudden they're doing things a certain way, and then when the head coach comes, they change a little bit. They do it maybe just a little bit better or work a little bit harder. And so I guess the point I'm making is that if we're only accountable to man, and we're only going to do things maybe the best we can when our boss is watching, or our coach is watching, or maybe our parent is watching, or whoever it may be, then what are we doing when they're not watching? What are we doing when they're not watching? And I think sometimes people think that there's such a thing as a secret life where you can act a certain way at work and act a certain way at church, and then act a certain way when you think no one's watching. Well, if you're doing your work heartily unto the Lord, of course God sees everything. And so that way, if your goal is to live a life that's pleasing to Him, then no matter where you are, what time of the day or night it is, if you have that accountability to God, then that's as strong as it can possibly get. And so, by no means am I perfect. I make mistakes all the time. I do stupid stuff all the time. Believe me. But since I came to know the Lord in '86, that's just been my goal has been to try to live a life that would please God. And sometimes when you have to make decisions in life, if we spend our time trying to please somebody with our decision, we got problems. It's just like anything that might happen for me as a head coach to make a tough decision. Well, is my decision going to be one that's going to please that parent? Is my decision going to be one that might please the media? Is the decision going to be one that might please our coaching staff or that player or our athletic director or whoever it may be? If we start trying to decide to please man with our decisions, you might make one guy happy and the next guy's going to be mad. It might make the media happy, but it might make the player sad. So it can become very confusing. But if you if you break it down to saying to yourself, you know, what would God have me do? What would He be pleased with? You know, that kind of simplifies the things, and it allows you to go home at night and put your head on the pillow and have some peace, even though you got to make some tough decisions in life that may not please everybody, and you may catch a lot of grief for it. But just know if you're in a leadership position that you're going to be criticized. That's just the way it is, whether it's being a parent and deciding you're going to tell your kid they got to go home at 11 when everybody else goes home at midnight or 1 or has no curfew. May not be a real popular decision, but you might get criticized for it. But you got to do what you believe is best, in the best interest of your child. And if you're a boss, you got to do what's in the best interest of your program and your people. And you know, if you are even just running your own life, you got to try to make decisions that you think would please the Lord, be the best interest of your future and the future of your family. So those are just a few little things in life that I've kind of hung on to when things have been tough. And but usually the pain comes before the glory. And so we're hoping to have a wonderful season this year. We're really excited about the future of Georgia football, and we're really excited about being at the University of Georgia. It's a great place. It's a great community of people. And I'm just thankful to have the opportunity to talk to you guys. And I wish you the very best. Go Dogs.
Coach, as a token of our appreciation for your time taken here tonight, Josh would like to present you with a case of peanuts.
Oh, man.
We asked you to fill out the card.
I was hoping to get one can.
You get all of it, half and half right there.
This is awesome.
One more round of applause.
Thank you very much.